alive! It's alive! It's alive! It's alive!
What's up, guys? Today we're talking about the 1931 horror classic Frankenstein, directed by James Whale. Henry Frankenstein, Colin Clive, is a raving scientist who digs up cadavers and hopes to create a new living creature from assembled body parts. Assisted by the crazed Fritz, Dwight Frye, Frankenstein's obsessiveness results in bringing to life the monster, Boris Karloff. What ensues is a classic tale of man playing God, testing the limits and patience of a local village when manufactured but misunderstood disaster strikes. Now, Mr. Carl Lamel feels it may be unkind for me to present this video without a warning. The contents there within may shock and horrify, so you've been effectively warned. It's alive! It's alive! Learning that Dracula's success inspired Universal to scoop up the rights to Frankenstein, we may never have gotten this beautiful movie without the success of Bela Lugosi and Todd Browning. Birds of a feather, Frankenstein is very much in conversation with Dracula as a work of art, and more obviously as another monster, but less misunderstood than Big Frank and more menacing. Though I still have Creature from the Black Lagoon, The Mummy, The Wolfman, and The Bride to experience, among many others, Frankenstein is probably going to win out as my favorite Universal monster. Boris Karloff's performance is beautiful, especially knowing how grueling the filming for the movie was. The setup of the film is so titillating and exciting, kind of a bring the band together type of thing, but with body parts and brains. As the movie ramps up and we see Henry's excitement at creating life, it's really Karloff that brings the creature into existence. His performance is both loud and understated. The way he chooses to carry himself posture-wise is childlike and menacing. It creates a dichotomy of a troubled child in the body of a hulking beast, one who doesn't quite understand the boundaries of life and death. This makes him effectively terrifying, but also immediately charming and lovable. While the movie frames him as a villain, and he does do some quite evil things, that villainy feels unintentional and more like someone dealing with the actions of another person or persons and suffering their consequences. Frankenstein never asked to be alive after all, and when you're made of various body parts stitched together, why would you want to be alive? Karloff's portrayal in this is silent aside from grunts, groans, and growls, but one wonders if he is experiencing as much physical pain as mental anguish. Colin Clive's portrayal of Henry Frankenstein lives within that same idea of a prison of the mind. He's clearly crazed and troubled, fixated on playing God and creating a living being. That he so quickly discards the beast when his to-be wife Elizabeth, May Clarke, arrives with Henry's friend, with unclear intentions of his own, Victor, John Boles, pleading with him to come home, goes to show how futile his attempt to actually care for the life he created was. He wanted simply to do something, but not deal with the repercussions. There is a pained nature to Clive's performance, one that I have not been able to shake, and clearly he intended for the audience to feel that way too. All of the other supporting players bring their A-game as well, but Dwight Frye as Fritz, the character itself a creation from the stage adaptation, does similar work to his role as Renfield in the 31 Dracula. He's less manic and more controlled here, but does excellent work, especially in the movie's intro where they pull the corpse off the pole, or when he helps Henry to dig up a corpse. It's a physical performance and sometimes comedic. The other standout was Marilyn Harris playing Maria, the little girl that the monster happens upon after escaping his tower prison. The quiet terror of the scenes the monster shares with Maria are shocking. Her naivety plays off Karloff's similar exterior so well that when he throws her into the lake, you're shaking your head. Did that just happen? Of course, this was pre-code, but imagine seeing this back then and not leaving the theater feeling like you just watched the scariest thing ever. James Whale's direction is top tier. Every single moment feels finely tuned and crafted, with each set piece rippling with emotion and precision. The painted backdrops and forced perspectives give the movie a picture book quality and makes me wonder why we ever stopped filming movies like this. The way the camera is framed in every shot feels planned and purposeful, useful to evoking a certain feeling in each moment that keeps you gripped to the edge of your seat. The set design is immaculate as well, each locale feeling alive, with the obvious standout being Henry's laboratory. Every horror movie lab has some element of his to this day, but I found a peaceful creepiness in the mansion in which Henry and Elizabeth reside. The conversation between Elizabeth and Victor earlier in the movie feels overtly sensual, the locale adding a kind of Dracula-like dream aesthetic. The makeup work from the infamous Jack Pierce is iconic in its own right. He made this monster, along with Karloff and Whale. Pierce was a difficult figure, but he is undoubtedly one of the reasons for the Universal monster's long-lasting impact. The way the lighting captures shadows on Karloff's brow, So stunning to bear witness to. Whale's cinematographer Arthur Edison did a tremendous job as well and has an impressive body of work to show for it. Edison captures the gothic textures of Whale's Frankenstein beautifully, and it's a world I wasn't ready to leave even after its pulse-pounding and anxiety-fueled ending. Just like there are consequences to creating life, there are consequences for taking it. The scene where Maria's father carries her into town to present to the burgomaster is harrowing. Again, I was shocked this was in a movie from this time. The town rallies, and while it's unclear why they fixate on the monster at first, it becomes clear once the monster finally assaults Elizabeth that he must be stopped. It's a frighteningly sad but somehow triumphant moment, the monster's final bout against the village. Like he entered the world, he travels up into the mountains, eventually capturing Henry and stowing away into an old windmill, a set piece so delicious and visually appealing. As he barrels up the innards of the mill, he and Henry square off, a particularly effective scene framing them between a turning gear as they gaze at each other like a mirror. Henry may have the revelation that they are not so different, but as Frankenstein tosses him over the mill's balcony, he surprisingly lives. Unfortunately, the monster pays the cost for Henry's foolish and brazen creator fantasy, as we watch a terrific physical performance from Boris Karloff as the windmill burns around him, creating some iconic imagery along the way. I'm still mouth agape at the scenes Whale concocted on screen here. I can't help but shake the movie's prescience. While the intro from Edward Van Sloan is something I first experienced unknowingly by way of The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror 5,
as usual, I must warn you all that this year's Halloween show is very, very scary.
The way horror movies are presented now were built from this template, though at that time it was very much based on reality. Horror is something I grew up with. Michael Myers may as well be Big Bird, or what Freddy Krueger would be to Grover. But back then, this horror was a new thing to a generation going through the Great Depression and actual real-life horrors happening every day. But what's new in 2025 America? In short, Frankenstein is a classic and a work of art. As someone who always appreciated older movies and those considered the classics, as I age and take in more films, I admire and even prefer movies from this era more. It has a distinct visual style, even if it's biting German expressionism pretty hard. But who cares? That's the point of art. Borrow, elaborate, and pay homage. It's a movie that feels personal, and that quality is why it has carried such a long-lasting impact as a classic. When Karloff barrels around the tower and violently staggers through town, we can tell that he is looking for meaning and making grave mistakes along the way. As humans, we carry those same burdens and confusions, as life itself is often more painful and confusing than we can initially understand and even know. We are all actively contributing in some way to the suffering of someone else somewhere. Perhaps it's a painful reminder, or as I prefer to think of it, a cathartic promise that each day is an opportunity to do better and make a decision that benefits not just you, but the other people and communities around you. When I say be more like Frankenstein, I mean be the one to offer a flower to a friendly face, not the one to throw a child into a lake. James Whale's Frankenstein is a classic for a reason. With terrific performances from Boris Karloff and Colin Clive, tremendous direction from James Whale, and impeccable makeup work from Jack Pierce, if this movie isn't in your regular Halloween rotation, well, add it now. Watch it not just to appreciate a piece of cinematic history, but also see how quickly it reveals itself as the skeleton key to all horror movies that would follow it. What did you think of 1931's Frankenstein? Was it all zap and pizzazz and no substance, or were you won over by this warm and misunderstood monster? Leave all the comments below, and before you go, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more. Until next time, in the immortal words of Henry Frankenstein, oh, in the name of God, now I know what it feels like to be God!